Now it is time to work on the second side, the second wing of our Faylinn pattern. And so the first thing to do is we need to pick up 14 stitches from the provisional cast on. So we do this, I do this in 2 steps. First, we're going to carefully undo. Once I've undone the little tie here, I'm not going to keep on pulling yet. What I want to do is kind of catch each of the stitches of my actual thread, my actual yarn, not my waste yarn, but my actual yarn. I want to, with the work facing me and the loops facing away from me, I want to catch the loop on the right. Okay, and if I were left-handed, I'd be catching the loop on the left. I'm catching the loop on the right of each of these stitches, okay? And you can go kind of as you pull out your crochet, or you can go ahead of time, whichever is easier for you. So you see, here's my next little loop. You see that loop? And I'm catching the far leg of the loop. Here's the loop. I'm catching the far leg of the loop. I'm going to keep on doing that. And if you're working with circular needles, this is really much easier because you can, well, it's pretty easy this way too, but the circular needles, what's nice is once you get a bunch of stitches, they slide onto the cord and it doesn't get as tight. But we're just picking up the far loop, and if it does start to get tight, you can undo some of the crochet chain. See? Just undo it, and it'll let go of those stitches, and that'll loosen up because there's a little less around your needle that way. And you keep on picking up, pull that loop, pick up the farthest leg. Pull that loop, pick up the farthest leg. Pull that loop, pick up the farthest leg, and there's still one more right here. Pick up the loop, pull the loop, pick up the farthest leg. Okay, and then we keep on pulling this crochet chain till it is all gone, and then we double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yay! We have 14 stitches. That is exactly what we should have, right? So that is awesome. Now that was actually not our cast on so much. We just picked up those stitches. We didn't yet pick them up with the first color. Now we need to do that part. So if we're going to pick them up from the first color, and we're doing this actually from the knit side, we're in good shape, right? That's what I love about this little trick that I have. Everything is all nice and lined up exactly the same way as it should be. So now I'm going to get rid of my waste yarn here and find the end of my actual yarn, my project yarn. Okay. And so now to actually pick those up with the yarn, I'm just going to go ahead and knit into all of those stitches, okay? So knit into each of them, and because we picked up the farthest leg on each one, they're facing the correct direction. When we're done, we'll be able to work a wrong side row, which is the way this pattern is written. I tried to make it as absolutely easy on you as possible. So that is why we did it that right way. So you could just do everything in the natural order that it works in. Here we go. There. Now we've picked them all up, and we are ready to continue going along with our pattern. Okay, so now we are on row 1, which is a wrong side row, and look at that, row 1, wrong side row. We are going to slip, knit, slip, purl 2, place marker 3 times, purl 2, slip, knit, slip. So follow your pattern. Your numbers are going to be much different than mine because you're making the full size shawl, not what I am making, but your first and last stitches will be the same and your techniques will be the same. So we're going to slip 1 with yarn in front, knit, slip with yarn in front again, and then we're going to do some purling and placing of markers. So purl and placing markers. Okay, 3 stitches left. We slip 1 purlwise with yarn in front, then we knit 1, and then we slip 1 purlwise with yarn in front, and that is the end of that row. And turn. Okay. Knit, slip, knit, knit, slip 1 with yarn in front. Okay, that first stitch is kind of loose. That's because it's the cast on the very first stitch, and the tail is there. But when you weave it in, it won't be such a big deal. Okay, and we're actually slipping that stitch with yarn in front, not purling it. And then knit again, and yarn over. Okay, now we're going to knit until there's 3 stitches left. Now, the second wing of this shawl is worked almost in reverse of the first wing, meaning our purls and knits and pickups and wraps and turns. Our wraps and turns are basically on the opposite, either purl or knit, than they were in the other side. You do know all the techniques you need to know to finish this at this point, but I'm still kind of doing this half of the wing anyway, just to make sure, just to kind of cement it in. But at this point, you should know all your techniques, and you could just go for it, all right? If that's what you want, you should be able to do it at this point. So I'm going to yarn over and knit, slip, knit again. Knit, slip, knit. Okay. Slip, knit, slip, purl to first stitch, purl to 1 stitch before second marker. Wrap and turn. So we are going to slip, knit, maybe, knit, slip, and then purl to 1 stitch before the second marker. So we're just going to start purling away here. Okay, here's our first marker, so we're going to go right past that, slip it, and then we're going to knit to 1 stitch before the second marker, so that's where we are. And now wrap and turn. So if you remember, a purl side wrap and turn means we slide the yarn to the back, we slip the stitch purlwise, but still with the yarn in the back, and then we put the yarn back to the front, we move the yarn to the front, and put the stitch back onto the left needle. And now we just spin everything around to start the next row. Knit until 3 stitches remain, yarn over, knit, slip, knit. Okay, again, make sure you're pulling that wrap kind of tight. Knit until 3 stitches remain, slide that marker, yarn over, knit, slip, knit. Slip, knit, slip, purl to 1 stitch before first marker, and wrap and turn. So, slip, knit, slip, purl to 1 stitch before the first marker. Let's see, oh, here we got 2 stitches, there we go, 1 stitch left before the first marker. See that? Now we're wrapping and turning, so the yarn is going to the back of the work. I'm slipping that stitch over, I'm moving the yarn to the front of the work and slipping the stitch back. And then I'm turning everything around. Knit until 3 stitches remain, yarn over, slip, knit, slip. I'm sorry, knit, slip, knit. So knit, pull that nice, that wrap and turn, pull that wrap tight, knit until 3 stitches remain, yarn over, knit, slip, and knit. And spin around again. Slip, knit, slip, purl until 3 stitches remain, picking up wraps as they are reached. Slip, knit, slip. Okay, so we'll do all of that. We're going to slip, knit, and slip, and then we're going to purl across until 3 stitches remain, but we're going to pick up our wraps as we reach them, which should be right before each of the first 2 markers. So there's a wrap right before that marker. So my yarn, I'm on the purl side, so my yarn stays in front. I slip that stitch over to my right hand needle. I grab the wrap. Okay, there's my little wrap. I grab that, I pull it up and over my stitch. Okay. And now I slide those back onto my left hand needle and I purl from the back. I purl them both together from the back. So I kind of come up and wrap around. I kind of come up both and wrap around from the back. Sorry. So I kind of come up from the back and wrap around both of them. Okay, that's what it looks like from the back. From the front, I just am coming up and going through both of them. And then I yarn over and pull through. And I've purled those 2 together from the back. Now I slip that next marker, I purl this next stitch, and this is another wrap. So slide the stitch, pull the wrap up and over. Might need to kind of adjust it to make sure that it actually goes all the way over. There we go. Okay. Now I slide the stitch and the wrap both back to my left hand needle and I purl them both together from the back. Slip the next marker, and now I'm just going to keep on purling until there are 3 stitches left. Okay, now I slip, knit, and slip. And then flip around. I'm going to knit, slip, knit, yarn over, knit to 1 stitch before first marker, wrap and turn. So knit, slip, maybe slip, knit, yarn over, knit to 1 stitch before the first marker. There we are. Wrap and turn. For a knit side wrap and turn, we pull the yarn to the front, slip the stitch, pull the yarn to the back, slip the stitch back, and spin around. Purl until 3 stitches remain, slip, knit, slip. So again, make sure we're nice and tight. Purl until 3 stitches remain, and slip. So I caught a little extra there. There we go. And knit and slip. Now we are going to knit, slip, knit, yarn over, knit until 3 stitches remain, yarn over, knit, slip, knit. And we're going to pick up the wrap when it is reached. So knit, slip, knit, yarn over, and now we're going to knit across and we're going to pick up that wrap when we get to it, which should be right before this first marker. There it is. So again, for a knit side pickup, we slip the stitch over, we grab that loop, we pull it up and over, we slide the stitch and the wrap back to the left hand needle, and we knit 2 together. There we go. Now we keep on knitting across until 3 stitches remain. Yarn over, knit, slip, knit. Now, slip, knit, slip, purl until 3 stitches remain, removing markers while working, slip, knit, slip. Okay, slip, knit, slip, and now we're just going to purl across until 3 stitches are not left, and we're just going to drop those markers right off as we reach them. 3 stitches left, and now we slip, knit, slip, and spin. All right, knit, slip, knit, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, and we're going to repeat that again, just like the last time, the knit 2 together, yarn over until either 3 or 4 stitches remain, depending on which row you are on, though it will be clear in your pattern. All right, so first we do our knit, slip, and knit. Then we yarn over, and then knit 2 together, yarn over, going to keep repeating the knit 2 together, yarn over, and depending on which row we are on, we'll do that until there are either 3 or 4 stitches left after one of those yarn overs. Okay, here we go. We're doing this knit 2 together and the yarn over, and you see we have 4 stitches left, so now we're going to knit the last one and yarn over. Okay, now if we had finished that and there were only 3 stitches left, then we would just, instead of knitting 1 and yarning over, we would skip that part because we had already yarned over after the knit 2 together, and we'd go straight onto the knit, slip, knit. Okay, and I know, I'm well aware, oops, that's a slip. I am well aware that on the ones that the rows that only have 3 stitches left, we didn't actually add an extra stitch on this side, and that is totally fine. I thought about it and I decided, you know what? It doesn't, I figured out how to make that up within the pattern, and in a way that isn't difficult and in a way that you're not gonna see it, okay? So it's totally fine, don't stress. You don't need to do anything fancy to fix it. I'm aware it happened, it's not a problem. All right, so now we're just going to slip, knit, slip, and purl until 3 stitches remain, slip, knit, slip, and then we're going to do that I-cord bind off one more time, so we will go over that again. Okay, 3 stitches left, slip, and knit, and slip, and then we're going to turn around and do our I-cord bind off. Okay, this I-cord bind off is also sometimes called a rolled bind off. I like to call it the I-cord bind off, and we're going to start by casting on 3 extra stitches, and we do that by sliding the needle in between the first and second stitch, and then we just yarn over and pull through, and we get this extra little stitch here that we pick up and toss onto our needle. And now we're going to do that again. We're going to place the needle in between the stitch we just made and the stitch before it. Okay, you see? Both sides of the stitches on the right side of the needle there. Yarn over, pull through again. Toss that up onto our left-hand needle. That was 2 stitches that we added on. Now we need to add on 1 more because we need a total of 3 stitches added on. Okay? And then yarn over and pull it through, toss that on, there you go. And actually, if you yarn over the opposite direction here, it's totally fine. You just want to not get a twist in your stitch. So if you yarn over this way and pull it through, that's fine too. Just kind of look at it and make sure you're not twisting anything funky, okay? Whichever way, I think I can't, I get so used to doing it the other way when I do it. I'm not entirely sure that I didn't put a twist in it. Oh, I think I did. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I have those 3 stitches, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit 2. Oh, I think I split my yarn there. I did. Okay, going to knit 2, 1, and 2, and then knit 2 together. Okay, now I'm going to slide those 3 stitches back onto my left-hand needle without twisting them at all. I'm just sliding them right back onto the left-hand needle like that. Now I'm going to repeat that part. I'm going to knit 2, 1, 2, then knit 2 together, and then slide those 3 stitches back onto my left-hand needle without twisting them or changing the order in any way. Okay, so I'll show you that one more time. We knit 1, 2, then knit 2 together, and then we slide all 3 over to the left needle, making sure not to change the direction, change the order, or twist them in any way. Okay, and now we're going to keep repeating that until there are just 3 stitches left. Here's my last repeat here. I'm knitting 1, 2, and then I'm going to knit my last 2 stitches together. Don't need to bother moving it to the other needle. I'm just going to cut my end. I'm going to put it on a yarn needle, and then I'm going to thread it through, starting with the farthest stitch. Okay, I'm going to thread it through the stitches in this direction. Okay, once I've done that, I can pull the needle out and pull those tight, and now we have this nice I-cord or rolled edge. Okay, so here you can see our little mini version. If you have a little tiny doll that needs some wings, you can give her some wings. But we have the mini version of the Faylinn shawl, and that should have taught you all of the techniques you need to be able to create your own full-size version. Look, guys, when I first did this side, I was like, it looks like something's weird, but I didn't notice what it was. I didn't do my yarn overs here and here. Okay, if you don't do those yarn overs when you do the knit 2 yarn over, if you missed your yarn overs, then not only do you miss your little eyelets, see how this side has all of these eyelets? Not only do you miss your eyelets, but of course your stitch count would be wrong as well. So that's what happened here. It looks like I missed a yarn over right here, and I missed a yarn over right there. There we go. I missed those 2 yarn overs. That's why I've got some funky little puckering happening over there. I didn't even notice. You would probably have noticed when you started your next row, okay, because your count would have been off. So that's something to check. If your count is off after you've done one of these knit 2 yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 2 together yarn over, knit 2 together yarn over, you definitely want to check your count after you've done one of those, because it's a really easy place, especially actually after you've gone back and done the purl to pick them up. And one of the things I was doing when I was making this, because there are so many times when you do that set of rows, after I did the knit 2 together yarn over, knit 2 together yarn over, when I came back and I purled them together and I purled all of my stitches, I'd go purl, yarn over, purl, yarn over. I wasn't actually, it was what I would say in my head. I was purling all of my stitches, but I would purl one of the knit 2 togethers, and then I would purl a yarn over. I would purl a knit 2 together, and then I would purl a yarn over. And it's really easy to tell the difference between those stitches. So if I got to a point where I would purl and knit 2 together, and then the next purl wasn't into a yarn over, I'd know I made a mistake, and I'd kind of like pull up a yarn over. All right. You can kind of fudge it at that point, but after that, it's not so easy to fudge. So just be aware that's a really easy place to make a mistake. So make sure you don't accidentally lose any stitches like I did right there. Okay? So there you go. Have fun.